Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think the more things change, the more they stay the same, unfortunately. When I first got to Congress 2 years ago, the former ranking member said at our first immigration hearing that we Republicans were imagining a border crisis. So Ms. Carter-Walters, are you imagining a border crisis? How would you respond to that?
And that's why President Trump we almost had a red wave in the United States, because we're tired of the lies, the gaslighting from the Democrat Party. All while everything they're saying right now that Trump is a threat. Everything is a threat. No, they're the threat. The Biden-Harris administration allowed 20 million people to cross that border unvetted and illegally. So no, we are not imagining anything. When I go outside my house and I look from side to side and across the street and I see what I see, and see the gangs and see everybody that's not, well, let me say this, people who I know that's not from my community and people who I know that's not from here. When I see that invasion in my community, then I'm not imagining anything. No, I'm looking at that with my own eyes.
Thank you for sharing that. Sheriff, real quick to you, in your law enforcement experience, it's pretty customary to work with your state and federal law enforcement officials on any number of issues. Is that a fair characterization?
Yeah, actually, we've done that for years, yes.
Right, so in any given scenario, you back them up, they might provide you with resources. There is an esprit de corps, if you will, between the law enforcement community to work together on crimes that are happening in your community, in your state.
It should be, and it should not be political in any way.
So the interesting thing in your state is that you now have a state attorney general who is presumably the chief law enforcement officer of the state, that is impeding your ability to do your job. Have you ever seen something like that before? Not necessarily on immigration or sanctuary policies, but have you ever seen a state official like that impede local law enforcement to the degree you have right now with these sanctuary policies?
Not in the years that I've been in law enforcement until probably the last 10 years. Things in Washington State have changed.
Mr. Hallman, are you familiar with 8 U.S.C. 1373?
Yep.
What is it, just to paraphrase, what does it say?
Well, I mean, it's a critical statute when it comes to immigration enforcement, and something that Democrats obviously ignore and disregard like they do every other part of immigration law.
So the statute basically says that you cannot restrict communication between state and local entities and federal immigration authorities, is that correct?
That is correct.
But that's
yep.
what's happening here.
They're not only restricting communications. I mean, let's give another example. Sanctuary jurisdictions are beyond simply complying with detainer requests. You have an example like Newark, New Jersey. You have a mayor, Ras Baraka, who is refusing to even allow a detention facility of 1,000 beds to open. He's doing a permitting nonsense. They don't only not want to comply with detainers, they don't want to detain, even in critical urban areas that are key hubs for removal.
So what's remarkable about this is why would they do that? What would be the policy reason, the logical reason that they would do that?
It's all by design. Again, it's all these urban areas. You're going to start seeing it too. Again, it's not just, hey, we want to keep you in the shadows. We want you to do as you please, live as you please. They want to make each jurisdiction in a flagrant abuse with a middle finger to the White House when it comes to enforcing our law. That's what they're doing. They're dismantling detention, immigration enforcement, and when it comes down to it, there's preventable crimes. We're going to keep seeing them, and until adequate funding is provided to President Trump and ICE to do mass deportation and everything, it's going to be in our hands too.
Yeah, well, maybe we can start with some funding by restricting the ability of these cities. I mean, if we're giving them grants, what are they going to? Or if we're giving them money, but they're not actually cooperating or helping. I think to the sheriff's point earlier, it's really alarming to me that that sanctuary cities even think that it's acceptable to exist, right? That this is a policy that is not based in reality, that it's an emotional response to the big orange man as a bad guy in the White House. That's kind of where they seem to be going, and that we would not allow the sheriff to do his job to work with our federal partners. And so I think the Congress absolutely has a role here. we absolutely should work to shut this practice down because, as Ms. Carter Walters talked about earlier, she sees it in her community. It is no longer safe. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Mr. Knott.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Major Franklin, just so I'm clear, I haven't been in for the entirety of the question and answers, but I want to ask you, do you believe that illegal immigration is a problem for the country?
Oh, it definitely is a problem, yeah.
Do you believe that the